Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Easy Talk, the podcast where we help you discuss world history with confidence in English.
I'm Mike, and I'm here with my historically curious co-host, Jane. Hey, everybody. We're excited you're joining us for today's epic historical journey.
If you're new here, welcome to our community. We make English learning engaging, practical, and deeply connected to understanding human history. And to our returning listeners, thank you for being part of this journey.
Before we begin, please subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on notifications. It helps us reach more English learners worldwide who want to explore global history.
Also, we have a fascinating question for you at the end of this episode. We genuinely want to hear your thoughts about history and Iran, especially from our Iranian listeners.
Ready for today's historical adventure, Jane?
Absolutely. Today, we're exploring one of the world's oldest continuous civilizations. Jane, what do you know about Iranian history?
Honestly, not nearly enough. I know about ancient Persia from movies like 300, but I suspect Hollywood didn't give me the full picture.
Ha! That's a perfect example of how history gets distorted. 300 tells the story from the Greek perspective, making the Persians look like villains. But from the Persian perspective, they were a sophisticated empire defending their territory.
So history depends on who's telling the story?
Exactly. And that's why learning actual history, not just pop culture versions, is so important. What got you interested in Iranian history?
A student named Cyrus, named after Cyrus the Great, actually, brought a timeline of Persian history to class. I was stunned to see how ancient and continuous it was.
How ancient are we talking?
We're talking about 7,000 years of civilization. Iran has one of the world's oldest continuous urban settlements. Cities like Susa and Shush have been inhabited for millennia.
That's older than almost anywhere.
Right, and here's what fascinated me. While Europe was in the Dark Ages, Persian civilization was flourishing with poetry, science, mathematics, and architecture.
So the history doesn't fit the simple narrative we often hear.
Not at all. Iranian history is incredibly complex, spanning multiple empires, dynasties, invasions, renaissances, and transformations.
What's our focus today?
We're discussing how to talk about the history of Iran in English, the vocabulary, the major periods, the key figures, and how to discuss this rich history accurately.
This is important because Iran appears in news and conversations constantly, but understanding its history provides crucial context.
We'll explore ancient Persia, the Islamic Golden Age, the Safavid Empire, the modern period, and how to discuss this history with nuance in English.
We'll teach you historical vocabulary, help you avoid common misconceptions, and give you the tools to engage in informed conversations.
And at the end, I'll do our quick vocabulary review with 10 essential terms for discussing Iranian and world history. Let's begin this epic journey through time.
All right, Mike, let's start at the very beginning. When did civilization begin in what is now Iran?
I'm guessing thousands of years ago?
Try 7,000 years ago. The Elamite civilization in southwestern Iran dates back to around 3200 BCE. That's contemporary with ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt.
What do we know about the Elamites?
They had a written script, complex society, trade networks, and built impressive structures. The city of Susa was a major center.
So civilization in Iran is as old as any on Earth.
Absolutely. Iran sits at the crossroads of ancient civilizations between Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, and Central Asia.
When did the Persian Empire we've heard about begin?
The first Persian empire, the Achaemenid Empire, was founded by Cyrus the Great in 550 BCE.
Tell me about Cyrus. Why is he called the Great?
Cyrus II created the largest empire the world had ever seen at that time, stretching from the Mediterranean to India. But he's called great not just for conquest, he's famous for his governance and tolerance.
What made his governance special?
Cyrus allowed conquered peoples to keep their customs, religions, and languages. He freed the Jews from Babylonian captivity. He's mentioned in the Bible as a liberator.
Really? A Persian king is in the Bible?
Yes, in the book of Isaiah, he's called God's anointed. He let the Jews return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple.
That's remarkable tolerance for ancient times.
It was revolutionary. The Cyrus cylinder, discovered in 1879, is considered by many to be the first declaration of human rights.
What does it say?
It proclaims Cyrus's policies of ethnic, linguistic, and religious tolerance. People could practice their own religions and maintain their customs under Persian rule.
So the Achaemenid Empire was multicultural?
Very much so. It was a multi-ethnic empire governed through satraps, provincial governors, who managed local affairs while maintaining Persian sovereignty.
Who succeeded Cyrus?
His son Cambyses, then Darius the Great. Darius expanded the empire further, built the magnificent city of Persepolis, and created an efficient administrative system.
What was Persepolis?
The ceremonial capital of the empire. Construction began around 515 BCE. It featured massive columns, intricate reliefs showing delegates from across the empire, and served as a showcase of Persian power and culture.
What happened to it?
Alexander the Great destroyed it in 330 BCE when he conquered the Persian Empire. The ruins still stand in modern-day Iran, a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Let's talk about the conflict with Greece. That's what 300 was about, right?
Yes, but let me give you the fuller picture. The Greco-Persian Wars were a series of conflicts between Greek city-states and the Persian Empire from 499 to 449 BCE.
What started them?
Greek cities in Asia Minor, modern Turkey, rebelled against Persian rule with support from Athens. Persia responded by attempting to punish Athens.
The Battle of Marathon?
In 490 BCE, yes, the Athenians defeated the Persian forces at Marathon. Then, in 480 BCE, Xerxes I led a massive invasion of Greece.
That's where the Battle of Thermopylae comes in.
Right. King Leonidas and 300 Spartans, plus thousands of other Greeks, held off the Persian army at a narrow pass. They fought heroically, but were eventually defeated.
What's the Persian perspective?
From the Persian view, these were minor frontier conflicts on the edge of a vast empire that stretched from Egypt to India. The Greeks were important to Greek history, but to Persia, they were one of many regions.
So it wasn't the epic clash of civilizations that movies portray?
Not quite. The Persian Empire continued thriving for over a century after these battles. Greek culture did eventually impact Persia through Alexander's conquest, but that's a different story.
Speaking of Alexander, what happened when he conquered Persia?
Alexander conquered the Achaemenid Empire between 334 to 330 BCE, ending Persian independence. But here's what's interesting. Persian culture influenced Alexander and his successors.
How so?
Alexander adopted Persian customs, married a Persian princess, Roxana, and his empire, after his death, was divided among Greek generals who ruled Persian territories. This created the Hellenistic period, where Greek and Persian cultures blended.
What happened next in Iranian history?
The Parthian Empire arose around 247 BCE. The Parthians, from northeastern Iran, gradually expelled Greek influence and re-established Persian power.
How long did they last?
About 500 years. The Parthian Empire was Rome's great rival in the east. They fought numerous wars, and the Parthians were famous for their cavalry and archery.
Rome's equal?
Absolutely. Rome couldn't conquer Parthia. The two empires existed side by side, defining each other's eastern and western boundaries.
What came after the Parthians?
The Sasanian Empire, from 224 to 651 CE. This was the last pre-Islamic Persian empire and one of the great powers of late antiquity.
What made the Sasanians significant?
They rivaled Rome and later Byzantium. They made Zoroastrianism the state religion, patronized arts and architecture, and saw themselves as the heirs to the Achaemenids.
What's Zoroastrianism?
One of the world's oldest monotheistic religions, founded by the prophet Zoroaster, Zarathustra, probably around 1500 to 1000 BCE. It was the dominant religion in Persia for over a millennium.
What are its key beliefs?
Belief in one God, Ahura Mazda, the eternal battle between good and evil, free will, and the ultimate triumph of good. It influenced Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
How did the Sasanian Empire end?
Arab Muslim armies conquered it between 633 to 651 CE during the rapid expansion of Islam. This was a major turning point in Iranian history.
So this is when Iran became Islamic.
Yes, though the conversion process took centuries. Initially, many Persians remained Zoroastrian, Christian, or Jewish. Gradually, most converted to Islam.
How did Islam change Iranian culture?
Here's what's fascinating. While religion changed, Persian culture remained strong. Persians contributed enormously to Islamic civilization while maintaining their language, literary traditions, and cultural identity.
So they weren't just absorbed?
Not at all. Persian became a major language of Islamic scholarship alongside Arabic. Persian scientists, poets, and philosophers shaped the Islamic Golden Age.
Who were these figures?
Al-Khwarizmi developed algebra. Avicenna, Ibn Sina, wrote the Canon of Medicine. Al-Razi made medical advances. Omar Khayyam was a mathematician and poet. Ferdowsi wrote the Shahnameh, preserving pre-Islamic Persian history and mythology.
So Persians were leaders in the Islamic world.
Absolutely. Persian administrators, scholars, and artists were crucial to Islamic civilization from Spain to India.
What about political power?
Various dynasties ruled Iran. The Buyids, Samanids, Seljuks, and eventually the Mongols invaded in the 13th century.
The Mongol invasion. That was devastating, right?
Catastrophic. Genghis Khan and his successors destroyed cities, killed millions, and devastated infrastructure between 1219 to 1258.
How did Iran survive?
Resilience and culture. Eventually, the Mongol rulers adopted Persian culture and Islam. Persia absorbed its conquerors culturally, even when conquered militarily.
That's happened repeatedly in Iranian history?
Yes, Arabs, Turks, Mongols all adopted Persian culture and language to some degree. Persian culture had soft power.
What came after the Mongols?
The Timurid period, then the Safavid Empire, 1501 to 1736, which is hugely important.
Why are the Safavids important?
They made Shia Islam the state religion, creating modern Iranian identity. Before the Safavids, Iran was mostly Sunni. This decision distinguished Iran from its Sunni neighbors.
That's a major religious shift.
It was deliberate state policy. Shah Ismail I, the founder, promoted Shi'ism to create a distinct identity and unify the country.
What else did the Safavids accomplish?
They established Isfahan as their capital. It became one of the world's most beautiful cities. They patronized arts, architecture, and trade. The Safavid period is considered a golden age of Persian culture.
What happened to them?
The empire declined and fell to Afghan invaders in 1722. Then Nader Shah rose, reconquered Iran, and even invaded India.
Then what?
Then the Qajar dynasty ruled from 1789 to 1925. This period saw increasing European interference in Iran. Britain and Russia competed for influence.
How did Iranians respond?
With resistance and reform movements, the Constitutional Revolution of 1906 to 1911 sought to limit the Shah's power and establish a parliament and constitution.
Iran had a constitutional revolution?
Yes, it was one of the first in the Middle East. Iranians wanted democracy, rule of law, and limits on autocracy.
Did it succeed?
Partially and temporarily. A constitution was established, but foreign interference and internal conflicts complicated implementation.
Let's talk about the 20th century. What happened?
In 1925, Reza Khan became Reza Shah, establishing the Pahlavi dynasty. He pursued modernization, building infrastructure, expanding education, and reducing foreign control.
This is the Shah we discussed before?
This is his father, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, who we discussed in a previous episode, succeeded him in 1941 and ruled until 1979.
And then the Islamic Revolution?
Yes, in 1979, as we've covered. But let me emphasize, this is just one chapter in 7,000 years of history.
How do we discuss Iranian history in English without bias?
Great question. Use neutral, descriptive language. Instead of Iran fell to Arabs, say Arab armies conquered the Sasanian Empire. Instead of Mongol barbarians destroyed Persia, say Mongol invasions caused massive destruction.
So avoid loaded language?
Exactly, and acknowledge multiple perspectives. The Arab conquest was devastating to Sasanian Persians but seen as liberation by some populations. History is complex.
What about discussing ancient Persia versus modern Iran?
Distinguish between them chronologically but acknowledge continuity. Ancient Persia, or the Achaemenid Empire for the early period, medieval Persia or Safavid Iran for the middle periods, modern Iran for the 20th century onward.
What vocabulary should we use for historical periods?
Empire for large, multi-ethnic states like the Achaemenids or Sasanians. Dynasty for a family of rulers like the Qajars or Pahlavis. Caliphate for Islamic political religious states. Era or period for broader time frames.
How do we talk about conquests and invasions?
Accurately, but without glorifying violence. Alexander conquered the Persian Empire is factual. Alexander liberated Persia from tyranny is biased Greek propaganda. Alexander destroyed one of history's great civilizations is biased Persian perspective.
Stick to facts, acknowledge perspectives?
Yes, and remember that history books often reflect the biases of those who wrote them.
What are common misconceptions about Iranian history?
That ancient Persians were barbaric enemies of civilization. Actually, they were highly civilized. The Achaemenid Empire had roads, postal systems, sophisticated administration, and religious tolerance.
What else?
That Iran has always been isolated or backwards. Actually, Persia was at the center of world trade and culture for millennia. The Silk Road passed through it. It was cosmopolitan and connected.
Any other misconceptions?
That Islamic conquest erased Persian culture. Actually, Persian culture flourished within Islamic civilization and shaped it profoundly.
How do we discuss Iran's contributions to world history?
Acknowledge them specifically. Persian innovations in governance influenced later empires. Persian contributions to mathematics include algebra and the development of decimal systems. Persian poetry influenced world literature.
Give specific examples rather than vague praise?
Exactly. The Qanat system, underground aqueducts invented by Persians, is still used worldwide for irrigation. Persian astronomy advanced understanding of the cosmos. Persian medicine preserved and advanced Greek knowledge.
What about cultural continuity? How do we discuss that?
You can say, despite political changes, Persian language and culture maintained continuity for thousands of years. Or, Iranian identity survived multiple conquests, each time absorbing and influencing its conquerors.
What time periods are most important to understand?
The Achaemenid Empire, 550 to 330 BCE, for understanding ancient Persia. The Sasanian Empire, 224 to 651 CE, for pre-Islamic Persia. The Islamic Golden Age, 8th to 13th centuries, for Persian contributions to science and culture. And the Safavid Empire, 1501 to 1736, for modern Iranian identity.
How do we connect ancient and modern Iran?
Through language, culture, and identity. Persian or Farsi has ancient roots. Nowruz, the Persian New Year, is over 3,000 years old and still celebrated. Poetry from Rumi, Hafez, and Ferdowsi remains central to Iranian identity.
So there's genuine continuity?
Absolutely. Modern Iranians see themselves as heirs to Cyrus the Great, connected to ancient Persia through culture, language, and tradition.
How do we discuss Iran's relationship with other civilizations?
As interaction, not just conflict, Persian and Greek cultures influenced each other through trade, conflict, and the Hellenistic period. Persian and Islamic civilizations merged to create new cultural forms.
What about the Persian language in history?
Persian was a lingua franca, a common language for trade and diplomacy across much of Asia for centuries, similar to English today.
When was it most influential?
From about the 9th to 19th centuries, Persian was the language of courts and culture from Istanbul to Delhi. Mughal India used Persian as its official language.
I had no idea Persian was so widespread.
Most people don't. Persian poetry, literature, and administrative practices shaped cultures from Turkey to Bangladesh.
Before we move to vocabulary, what's the main lesson about Iranian history?
That it's ancient, continuous, culturally rich, and central to world history, not peripheral or backwards as sometimes portrayed.
And worth understanding deeply?
Absolutely. You can't understand the Middle East, Central Asia, or Islamic civilization without understanding Iranian history.
Beautifully said. Let's do the vocabulary review.
All right, everyone, time for our quick vocabulary review. I'm going to teach you 10 essential words and phrases for discussing Iranian history and world history in general. Word number 1, empire. This noun means an extensive group of states or countries ruled over by a single authority, especially an emperor or empress, or a major political unit with extensive territory. For example, the Achaemenid Empire was the largest empire of its time, or empires rise and fall throughout history. It's pronounced empire. Empires are multi-ethnic, expansive states, often created through conquest. Understanding empire versus kingdom versus nation-state helps discuss political structures accurately. The adjective is imperial. Number 2, dynasty. This noun means a line of hereditary rulers of a country, or a succession of people from the same family who play a prominent role. For example, the Qajar dynasty ruled Iran from 1789 to 1925, or the Ming dynasty built the Forbidden City. It's pronounced dynasty. The adjective is dynastic. Dynasties organize history. We speak of the Safavid Dynasty or the Pahlavi Dynasty. This helps create chronological frameworks for understanding historical periods. Word number 3, conquest. This noun means the subjugation and assumption of control of a place or people by military force. For example, Alexander's conquest of Persia ended the Achaemenid Empire, or the Arab conquest introduced Islam to Persia. It's pronounced conquest. The verb is conquer. Conquest is different from peaceful annexation or unification. It implies military force and resistance. Use this term accurately to describe historical events. Word number 4, civilization. We've used this before, but it's crucial for Iranian history. Civilization means an advanced stage of human social and cultural development, or the society and culture of a particular period. For example, Persian civilization spans 7,000 years, or ancient civilizations left remarkable legacies. It's pronounced civilization. Civilizations have cities, writing, organized government, and cultural achievements. Understanding this term helps discuss long-term historical development. Word number 5, tolerance. This noun means the willingness to accept behavior and beliefs different from one's own, or the capacity to endure hardship. For example, Cyrus the Great was known for religious tolerance, or the Achaemenid Empire practiced ethnic and linguistic tolerance. It's pronounced tolerance. The adjective is tolerant. In historical contexts, tolerance means allowing diverse groups to maintain their practices. The Cyrus cylinder is famous for proclaiming tolerance as policy. Word number 6, legacy. This noun means something handed down from the past, especially from an ancestor or predecessor, or the long-lasting impact of events or people. For example, the legacy of the Safavid Empire includes beautiful architecture, or Cyrus's legacy influenced concepts of human rights. It's pronounced legacy. Legacy is what remains and continues to influence. Every historical period leaves legacies, cultural, architectural, linguistic, or political. Discussing legacies helps understand historical importance. Word number 7, monotheism. This noun means the belief in a single god, as opposed to polytheism, belief in multiple gods. For example, Zoroastrianism is one of the world's oldest monotheistic religions, or monotheism influenced Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. It's pronounced monotheism. The adjective is monotheistic. In historical contexts, monotheism means allowing diverse groups to maintain their practices. The Cyrus cylinder is famous for proclaiming tolerance as policy. Word number 8, succession. This noun means the action or process of inheriting a title, office, or property, or a number of people or things of a similar kind following one after another. For example, the succession from Cyrus to Cambyses to Darius, or the royal succession was sometimes disputed. It's pronounced succession. The verb is succeed. Succession helps explain how power transferred in dynasties and empires. Succession crises often led to instability or civil wars. Word number 9, Golden Age. This phrase means a period of great peace, prosperity, and happiness, or a period when a particular art or activity reached its peak. For example, the Islamic Golden Age saw Persian contributions to science, or the Safavid period is considered a golden age of Persian art. It's pronounced Golden Age. Golden Ages are idealized historical periods when culture, arts, and sciences flourished. Every civilization has perceived Golden Ages. For Persia, multiple periods qualify: the Achaemenid, the Islamic Golden Age, and the Safavid. And our final word, number 10, Renaissance. We've discussed this before, but it's important for Iranian history. Renaissance means a revival or renewed interest in something, or a period of new growth in art, literature, or learning. For example, Persian culture experienced a renaissance under the Safavids, or the Islamic Renaissance preserved Greek knowledge. It's pronounced Renaissance. While the Renaissance, capitalized, refers to the European period, Renaissance, lowercase, means any cultural rebirth. Persia experienced multiple renaissances after setbacks like the Mongol invasions. There you have it, 10 essential words: empire, dynasty, conquest, civilization, tolerance, legacy, monotheism, succession, golden age, and renaissance. Master these words and you'll be able to discuss Iranian and world history with sophistication.
Jane, what an incredible historical journey we've had today.
We traveled through 7,000 years of Iranian history, from the Elamites to the Achaemenids, from the Islamic Golden Age to the Safavids, and into the modern era.
We explored empires, conquests, cultural achievements, and the remarkable continuity of Persian civilization through millennia.
And we gave you essential vocabulary and frameworks for discussing this complex history accurately and respectfully.
Now we want to hear from you. Here's our question of the day. What period of Iranian history interests you most? Ancient Persia, the Islamic Golden Age, or another era? Why? Or if you're Iranian, what aspect of your history do you wish more people understood?
Share your thoughts, questions, and perspectives in the comments below. We especially love hearing from people who can share family stories or cultural memories.
If this episode deepened your understanding of Iranian history or gave you tools for discussing world history in English, please give it a thumbs up.
Subscribe to Easy Talk and turn on notifications. We explore world history that enriches your English and your understanding of our interconnected human story.
Share this episode with friends, classmates, or anyone interested in ancient civilizations, Middle Eastern history, or understanding the roots of modern geopolitics.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Easy Talk Podcast for daily content on history, culture, and language learning.
Visit easytalkpodcast.com for additional resources, including historical timelines, reading lists, and discussion guides.
Before we go, we want to leave you with this thought. History is not just dates and events. It's the story of human creativity, resilience, and connection.
Iranian history shows us that civilizations can endure for millennia, that culture can survive conquest, and that each era contributes to an ongoing story.
From Cyrus freeing the Jews 2,500 years ago, to Persian poets inspiring readers worldwide, to modern Iranians maintaining ancient traditions like Nowruz, there's continuity and change.
When we study history, we're not just learning about the past, we're understanding the foundations of our present and the possibilities of our future.
We see that human beings have always created beauty, sought knowledge, built civilizations, and dreamed of better worlds.
Use your English to engage with history deeply. Read primary sources in translation. Visit museums. Watch documentaries. Ask questions.
Every civilization has contributed to the human story. Every history deserves to be understood in its complexity, not reduced to stereotypes or simplified narratives.
Thank you for taking this historical journey with us. Thank you for being curious about the world's rich past.
I'm Jane.
And I'm Mike, and this has been Easy Talk. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep discovering the incredible story of human civilization.
Goodbye, everyone. Remember, history connects us. Every era has lessons, and understanding the past illuminates the present. Khuda Hafiz. This episode explores Iranian history with respect for its depth, complexity, and contributions to human civilization. We've aimed to present historical facts, while acknowledging that history can be viewed from multiple perspectives. We encourage viewers to continue learning from diverse sources, including Iranian historians and scholars, and to appreciate the remarkable continuity and richness of Persian civilization.